How to make a 3D design for your 3D design assignment. First thing is you're going to be creating a 3D design that we could print on our 3D printers in class. The requirements are actually create a design, as in you made it, you changed it. You can't just do something that was created by somebody else. You could change something created by someone else, making it your own design, but you have to have actually changed and edited and moved things and such like that. The size requirement is 2 by 2 by 4 inches or smaller, about there, because we need to make sure that your design takes less than 50 minutes to print so that we can keep using the printers. To do this, you're going to be using the website Tinkercad, Tinker, which stands for Computer Assisted Design. So it's a software that helps you design things. You're going to be using that website. The easiest way to sign in is clicking this link right here, because it has you join my class, which solves a bunch of the sign-in issues that tend to happen otherwise. If you can figure it out otherwise, you don't have to join my class, but this is probably the easiest way. So you'd click this and we'd sign in with Google. I'll show you that in just a second here. But please note, Tinkercad's website has a lot of great tutorials for how to actually use their website. Feel free to use those to help you figure out how to do things. Once you've created your design, you're going to download an STL file by clicking Export at the top right. Now that you've clicked the link on my Canvas course to go to the Tinkercad website, it has you joining my Canvas course, Tinkercad course of CCA. And you need to sign in using this one right here, the G for Google. It's the easiest one and the most convenient for you. So you click the G to sign in. It will have you select your Google account, and then it signs you in and takes you to their homepage here. I already have some designs here, but you would be starting completely from scratch, unless you've already used Tinkercad before. Some tutorial things might pop up to show you how to use things, or you can even come here to tutorials to see how to use their stuff. I'm going to give you a brief tutorial for this. You just need to click the new button here to create new design. And what you're going to be doing is a 3D design. If you want to do circuit or code blocking, coding style things, you can do that, but that's on your own. We're not going to be doing it in this class. So you click a new 3D design, and it's going to load your workplace for your 3D design. It's got a work plane here. Each of these squares is a specific measurement. However, it defaults to millimeters in the metric. So you're going to want to click settings right down here and change it from millimeters to inches, which then means each of these big squares is an inch. And since you need to make something that's like 2 by 2 by 4 or whatever, this will help you kind of visualize what it's looking like. If you click and you are on here with 2 fingers, and while holding the 2 fingers, you can pivot and turn your work plane around so you can see the different angles of your 3D design. Or you can use this cube here where you can click around on it and start seeing different angles. Alright, for basic building blocks, over here we've got all sorts of building shapes that we can use. You can even click the menu here and get more options of things that already have been designed. Reminder, you have to create your own thing. You can't just click creatures or something and just add Elvis to your design. You have to actually create it and change it and do something different. If I'm just taking all these parts and putting them together to create my own thing, that is different than just saying, oh, I want to print the sword, we're printing a sword. All right, we're going to start with some basic things here real quick. because you can create something fun like a keychain. You just find something you want, click, drag, and drop it down here on your thing. And now if I turn and change this, you can see I have this three-dimensional object. Do your best to have things connect to the platform. Unless I'm building on this, then I want things to connect to this. I'm thinking right now, maybe I want to make some cool looking keychain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the height of my box by clicking this white square, which says, hey, my box is 1 inch tall there. So I'm going to click and I'm going to bring this down and say, maybe I only want it a 1/2 inch thick or 3/8 of inch thick. I'm going to go with a 1/2 inch. So now I've got a block that if I line it up here is 1 inch this way, 1 inch that way, and a 1/2 inch tall. So I'm going to make a keychain. Maybe I want it to be, instead of just 1 by 1, which is pretty small, maybe I want to make it the 4 inches long this way. And maybe I want to make it the 2 inches wide this way. There you go. 2 by 4. And it is currently only a 1/2 inch thick, which is totally fine. And if I'm going to make this a keychain, I'm going to want a hole on the side that I can actually connect things on, right? So here's how you can make holes. You got 2 built-in hole devices here, or I could take any of these shapes and I could turn it into a hole. Since it's got a pre-made hole, I'll just use this one. So I'm going to click, drag, and drop and bring this over here. I'm going to make sure it's not right on the edge anywhere. And so what that did is where that is located, and it actually comes all the way through on the bottom, it would be a hole in my design. But I don't think I want the hole quite that big. So instead of being a whole big inch of a hole, I'm going to bring it down to maybe a 1/4 inch. So I've got a 1/4 by a 1/4. 1/4 inch hole. And I can move this and angle it and making sure I'm staying a little bit off from the edge there. So now I have a hole that goes completely through. It's only about a 1/4 inch big. You could make it bigger if you'd like. And just for the aesthetics of looking at this, if I want to, instead of having it show that it's this tall, I can click this button and bring it down so it's just the same thickness as my square. And as long as I can see it, it actually has gone all the way through. I think I want to center that a little bit better. That's good enough. All right. And now for my fun part of the keychain, because I just have this block at the moment. Maybe I want to add some text and put my name on there. So I'm going to take my text box here. I'm going to bring it right here like this. And then if I want to change what the text says in this window that popped up here, I'm going to go, maybe I want to change it to my name there, Smith. So I got my name. But what it did is it ended up being the exact same thickness as my block. And it's down on the plate, which means I can see it on the bottom. And it actually sticks out on the edge. So I need to change this a little bit. So if I can click my text here, I'm going to do a couple things. Like change how thick it is. so that it comes out and it's above. Or I could click this arrow and I can pull it up. See, I can pull it up so it's completely out of my block. So I can either pull it out of the block. Well, it needs to be in the block just a little bit. See, it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. It could just be part way in. Now I need to decide if I actually want my letters that tall, and I think that would look a little bit weird. Oop, wrong one. I want it submerged in the block just a little bit so it's connected, but this is what I wanted to change. I want my name to stick up the top. Maybe that much. But I still have this problem if it's covered my hole and it's hanging off the edge. If I grab this diagonal corner and pull it this way, I can change the sizing of my name like that. And then I can click and drag it and bring it right in here. Ta-da! So now I've got a block with a hole and my name on it that is fully connected, and I can print that. And once again, it's 4 by 2 by a ½ inch, so it'd be pretty good on my timing. If you want to get a little bit fancy, you could do things like having a border edge around here or other things. But that's kind of the basics of tweaking and changing a couple things. If I wanted to make a keychain, that would turn out pretty good. If I don't want to do a keychain, I could get rid of that and I could do all sorts of other things. For example, maybe I want to do something with this Elvis Presley here. So I can bring Elvis and put Elvis on my design. If you notice, Elvis is not quite an inch wide and he's only about 1½ inches tall. And I've got Elvis. The trick is I didn't design Elvis. I didn't tweak or change Elvis at all. So I need to tweak or change Elvis in some way. Something I could do is maybe I could just build a stage and put Elvis on a stage. Maybe I don't want it an inch tall. Maybe I only want the stage to be about 1/4 inch thick. And I could bring Elvis and put him on my stage here. Except for he's lost his legs into the stage. So if I click Elvis, this black arrow would allow me to pull him up so like he's floating in the air, which will not work for printing. Floating in the air things do not work for 3D printing. They've got to be attached to something that's attached to the ground. So I can put him just like that. Just make sure you look close and oh, his feet are not on the platform. His microphone is, however, which means that would not print very good at all. So I'm going to click Elvis again and get zoomed where I can see things. And I'm going to drop his feet in a little bit. I don't need to see his fancy shoes. So now I have Elvis standing on my little platform here. And that in and of itself does meet the requirements of creating my own thing, but you can do other things if you'd like. And you can just experiment and do some fun stuff. A couple things to be cautious about is if I have something like this ball, there's only that tiny little bit that's going to attach to the print plate, which means it's not going to be as easy to print. But we can have a couple of tricks. Just be careful that you have a good base going on. But maybe I want to build a snowman here. So I'd have another block. And here's where my word of warning comes in. See how it's connected a little bit here? You want that. If I have my circled second sphere here, not really touching or just barely touching, it's very, very easily going to break apart or not print together well at all in the first place. All right. So that's just some basics. You could mess around and try all sorts of stuff. If I have my design complete, here's how you turn it in. Up here at the top right, there's a button that says export. And if I hover on it, it says download and 3D print. You can click export. We're downloading the design and we're gonna submit it in Canvas so I can give you points for having designed something. I want you to select the button that says STL. It works the best. The others don't always play nice. Just click STL and it downloads it to your computer. Now you just need to go to Canvas and upload that into the assignment. Now that I have created my 3D design and I've export downloaded it, I'm coming back to the Canvas page to turn it in. So I'm going to scroll down past all the instructions, including the ones of how to print it on 3D printers, so that I can click the rocket ship. If I click the rocket ship, it's going to load. Usually it shows you guys your recents or your downloads. I have to click a couple more buttons because mine looks a little different. But if I click recents and I look through here, my design that I just downloaded should be here. And I just click it and it's going to load it. And then once it loads, I click submit. Please note, this only allows you to turn in the STL file ending here. If you take a screenshot, it's not going to work. You need to actually use the instructions of click export and download as an STL file to have it work.